All right. Hello and welcome back to Sip and Spill, your go-to space for real talk, real life, and a whole lot of love. And again, as you see, we're by the poolside, not by a fool side.
too.
I'm your host, T, and with me is my co-host,
Stephanie.
and we're here to unpack life's highs, lows, and the in-between sips. So pour something warm, get comfy, and let's get into it. We're going to skip the backstory brew and get right into the resilient reflection by me. So, in the last episode, I shared the events that took place prior to the assault. I also, again, want to put a disclaimer out that this is not a pretty story. And it's pretty graphic. However, it's the truth. So, I just want to give a heads up. So, just to give a small bit of insight, I had just moved Tiana, my daughter, back to Buffalo about a week or two prior. So the climate change had actually worked against me. I was extremely sick when I got back down here to Chattanooga. So the night before, I had taken the remainder of my NyQuil, and I fell asleep in my robe, my pajamas, and some toilet paper in my pocket because I was tired of getting up and down, going to the bathroom, blowing my nose. So around, I say 12 a.m., I get a text on my phone saying Happy Mother's Day from this man. Mind you, like I stated in the previous week, there had been no contact. And I thought that I had blocked him, but obviously I didn't. So the text came through. And when it came through, it woke me up and I sent it straight to Stephanie. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, do you see this? And again, we weren't in contact. However, he was harassing me at work and all that good stuff, how harassers harass, basically. So I thought nothing else of it. I went back to sleep. Then I was waken up by my doorbell ringing. And you guys, I was sleeping soundly because I had finally been able to get some rest because of the cough medicine that I had taken. So when I woke up, it startled me. So I jumped up, wondering what was going on because I had no clue, what was happening. This was in the middle of my sleep. And you know how sometimes it is when you jump out of your sleep, you're a little disoriented. You're not fully awake. You're still a little, woozy or whatever. So then the doorbell rang again. And this time I was like, okay, let me go to the door, So I'm going to the door. I'm like, who is it? And I truly thought that it was my sister from around the corner because she lives like 3 minutes from me. She's literally the only person at that time who knew they could come to my house unexpectedly. So, I was thinking that maybe it's an emergency, what was going on or whatever. So I asked, who was it? I'm like, who is it? It was no answer. So I cracked the door open a little. And if you've ever been to my house, that there's kind of a blind spot when you open my door. And if someone isn't right in the doorway, you have to peek your head around to look to see who it is. So I had the door cracked, asked who it was. Nobody said nothing. So as I was cracking and opening even more, he went on and pushed himself and forced himself in the door or whatever and started saying, how much he missed me and he had been drinking and he couldn't stop thinking about me. And he was grabbing all over me, touching me, pulling me closer. And I was telling him, you need to leave. You need to leave. Please stop. Leave. Please stop. And me rejecting him, I'm guessing made him a little mad because that's when he threw me into the wall. And at this time, that's when I'm like, okay, stuff's getting real, or whatever. So as I'm pushing and pulling, well, as he's pushing his stuff on me and I'm pulling and everything and trying to get away from him, I'm thinking in my head, okay, this is serious. You need to go to your room. You need to get your gun or whatever and get your phone because I thought I had my phone, but it wasn't. It was the toilet paper roll in my pocket. So as I'm trying to get away from this man or whatever, he's pulling. So it's like a tug of war. And finally, I guess he got tired of us tugging and him pulling. And he took me and he threw me on the couch. So at this point, I'm 100% awake. I know that, okay, this isn't good. And he threw me on the couch. And next thing you know, he had my hands pinned up. He was forcing my legs open. Of course, I was fighting and screaming and yelling, please stop, don't do this. And I guess he got tired of me fighting and wiggling and moving. And he raised his hand and he said, stop fucking moving before I hit you. And I believed him. He had that look in his eyes. I believed him. So I just turned my head and I just cried as he did what he did, as he raped me. And when he was done, it was very odd because he sat on the couch. He finished, he sat on the couch and started having a normal conversation like, what do you want to do for Mother's Day? Like, we can do this, we can do that. And I was like, um, thinking in my head, like, what is going on? And he's like, let's start a family. I want to have a family with you. We'll have a pretty baby. And I said, I don't want a family with you. You just raped me. And he responded and said, I didn't rape you. If I did, then call the cops. And I said, that's what I'm going to do. And at that time, I got up and was trying to go to my room to get my phone to call the cops and to grab my gun. And that's when he grabbed me and pulled me back and threw me back down on the couch. And he raped me again. And this continued 2 more times after that. And finally, I got so tired of fighting. My arms was hurting. My legs was hurting. I was hurting. And something just said, the more you fight, the more he's going to keep on. Because that seems like what he was doing. And something just said, Tierra, if you want to live, just comply. And so I did. I complied. So after he was finished, he actually wanted to go in my room and go to sleep. And I said, no, just please leave. I don't want you here. Please just leave. And so he got mad and was like, I can't believe, you're putting me out and I'm drunk. You're going to make me drive home drunk. If something happens to me, it's your fault. And I did not care. I just said, please, please leave. He said, you know what? I'll leave. But if I leave, you have to talk to me while I'm driving home so you can make sure nothing happens to me. And if you don't, I'm not going to leave. I'm not going nowhere. I'll come right back in here.
I just wanted to make sure you want to call the police.
Yeah, yes. He wanted to make sure I didn't call the police. That's what she said. So I finally get him out of the house and everything. Mind you, I don't have my phone. Again, I thought I had my phone in my pocket, but it was a toilet paper roll. And so I hear my phone going off. So I'm frantic. I'm like, oh my God, he's calling. I got to go and answer this phone. So I'm looking for my phone on my bed. And anybody that knows me knows that I sleep wild. So what happened was, I guess I knocked the phone out off my bed during my sleep, and it kind of went under the bed, like halfway under the bed and halfway out. So that's where I found my phone. So I hurry up and answered or whatever. And so he just wanted me to be on the phone, just listening to him rant and rave about how I'm a horrible person for him me letting him leave drunk, and how he's now going to go home and he doesn't have his keys and all this other stuff. And he can't believe I didn't let him stay. As soon as he got home and I knew he was home, I hung up. I immediately voice noted Stephanie and told her what had happened. Because I really didn't know what to do. And she said, T, you need to call the police. And I said, I am, but my head is killing me, Stephanie. It feels like somebody hit me with a bat. It is hurt. When I tell you guys, I had the worst headache in the world. It was like a migraine to the 10th power, 100th power, something that I never felt in my life. And my plan was to call the police, but I blacked out. And per my triage nurse, who did the rape exam, what had happened was my body was in shock and I blacked out. And so, Stephanie, do you want to add anything to this? Because you were a part of that night. As far as me contacting you and everything. You don't have to.
I don't think I can.
Okay, that's fine. So you guys, that's all that I want to share this week. I will share more in 2 weeks. And we'll talk about the events that took place after I blacked out. And again, I just want to let it be known, if anyone's listening and you need someone to talk to, please reach out to me. Your voice is your superpower, and it can guide you to safety. So let's go ahead and switch gears to something lighter, to our Sip of the Day segment with Stephanie.
Welcome back. This is the Sip of the Day, and I'm going to do things a little different. That was very triggering to hear, to have to relive those moments. And just thinking about all the stuff that he did and the things that led up to that and the things that happened after that, it was a blur. Like, I didn't remember a lot of it, But I just want you to know I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
For being strong through this journey.
Thank you.
And that I love you.
I love you more.
So now we're going to transition to the main 4 segment
With me.
with T.
So our topic of discussion today is boundaries versus standards. So what I'm going to say is people talk a lot about having boundaries and standards, especially in dating, friendships, and family relationships. But are they actually the same thing? Like, so let's just discuss, let's unpack the difference between them.
Right.
And then we'll get into the nitty gritty of things.
So let's talk about boundary. It's basically what you will and won't accept, what actions you will take to protect your peace. But when we talked about standards, that means the quality, the values, and the behaviors that you expect from people that you allow into your life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so there definitely is a difference, guys. It's not the same thing. So do you think that standards can sometimes be too high, or are they simply a personal preference?
I believe they're personal preferences, but in some cases there can be unrealistic. We can say unrealistic standards.
You are absolutely right. And I also think that, standards are personal, like you said, but the right person won't think your standards are too high.
Right.
They'll either meet them or realize they're not a good fit.
Absolutely.
So that's how I would, what I would say about that. So, girl, have you ever lowered your standards for someone you really liked?
Girl, yes, I have.
Me too. And I always ended up disappointed.
Absolutely. You always will. So take that from us.
Yeah. Attraction, because attraction can make you overlook a lot of things.
Girl.
But when I tell you those issues usually show back up, they definitely always resurface.
Yeah. And it'll be hard to ignore.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Got that right.
So what's a boundary you wish you had set early on in your life?
Ooh. Let's see. Oh, not accepting inconsistent behavior.
Ooh, girl.
Like if someone is interested, their actions should absolutely match their words.
Absolutely.
Real talk. And I don't think that people really even realize that they're being inconsistent. No, maybe they do realize that. And they just don't care. Because you can't tell me that you feel that your actions and your words are matching.
Right.
No. 5 + 5 is not mathing and equaling 10.
Right.
Mm-mm.
It's equaling 0.
Right. Hey, do you think that, but with that being said, do you think that people get offended by boundaries because literally they benefit off you not having them, right?
Absolutely. Healthy people might be surprised by a new boundary, but an unhealthy person will get triggered.
Whew.
And they'll try to cross that boundary,
Mm-hmm.
especially once you remove that access that they once had.
Right. Because boundaries can also make people feel uncomfortable, especially when they're used to having unlimited access to your time, your energy, or your forgiveness.
Yes, right.
Oh, God, when you implement that boundary, they're like, what? Wait a minute.
So you have to say sorry before the action starts matching.
Oh, that part. That part. That
don't
part.
say sorry if you don't mean it. I need to see it through your actions.
So do you feel that there's a difference between having boundaries and controlling others?
Absolutely. So a boundary says, if this happens, here's what I will do, right? Mm-hmm. Control says you can't do that.
Right.
And an example of a boundary is, I won't stay in a relationship if you keep disrespecting me, right? Controlling is, you're not allowed to talk to your friends.
Oh.
So
yeah,
be able to know the difference.
That is true. Boundaries manage your behavior and control manages others. So that's a way to remember that. So closing out this segment, I do have a closing thoughts. Boundaries aren't walls to keep people out, guys. They're not. They're guidelines to show people how to treat you and what you value. And that's just that. So now we're going to go into this last sip segment with Miss Stephanie.
Last sip segment.
Surprise question.
Surprise question. This is a segment where none of us knows what we're going to ask. It could be serious. It could be funny. So are you ready?
For the next comedian. Damn. Is he funny?
So what is something you're currently over?
Girl, I'm currently over these damn gas prices and food prices being in competition.
Right.
That's what I'm over.
We
Because
just
when
wanna
I
eat
tell
right.
y'all, when I tell y'all, ain't no more joy riding listening to my R&B.
Period.
Because my car takes premium gas. Yeah, I got a premium selected vehicle. Oh, yeah. And then I got it right before the gas prices went up. So, yeah. But, I mean, y'all don't got to be in competition. We just trying to live.
Right. Eating right. Eating right.
That's all. What about you?
This is more serious to me. I am so tired of the division between race. After what is his name, Carmelo Anthony,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like the battle. I mean, I get it, you know what I'm saying, but why does it have to be a race thing?
I think one reason is because they're looking at past criminals that have been a different color that have did literally the same thing and what their sentencing was like, and they're comparing,
Which is absolutely fine.
Now it's coming down to the jury, the judge knowing this person and that person and hiding evidence.
Absolutely.
And all that good stuff. But I don't know, I want to ask something. Has there ever been a full black jury? All black.
Right. And why isn't it a rule to be equally divided in these type of selections?
That part.
You have men and women. Why can't you have an equal jury in that aspect?
With a diverse ethnic group. Like, I'm not really understanding why and how that's even allowed.
Right. We're talking about Texas.
Yes. So I really think that there's different factors that is making it more race driven.
Well, when I mean race driven, it's the hate that's coming behind it.
Got you.
And I get we don't always agree with the outcome of things, but
Absolutely.
Why does it have to become a racial back and forth amongst the community? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get it. And I will say that I do feel like his sentencing was not fair.
Absolutely. It was unjust.
There was another situation similar to that, but he was a white boy, and he got way less time, so I don't get it, but we're not going to get into that part right now.
Yeah, but I definitely agree with you with that. Let's all just love each other and love on each other.
We all bleed the same color.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, when we die, we all going to look the same.
Absolutely. Dead.
So let's love one another. Spread the love and not hate.
Yeah.
And that's from my heart.
All right. I'm going to switch it over to the funny. I was going to go back to back with serious, but now we're going to go light right now. So if your life came with a warning label, what would it say?
Do not cross, because I might morph into a ninja and kick your ass.
And mine is respectfully, you may get shadow kicked. And I'm not even joking about that. I've shadow kicked a couple times.
Now I'm dressed in black a couple of times.
Dressed in all black like the Omen. Have your friends saying this is for my homie. Now you know me. Oh, what's one boundary you had to learn the hard way, Miss Stephanie?
I learned that small disrespect matters just as much as the disrespect that's in your face.
Whoo-wee. I would tell you, I think I taught her this.
She did.
I really do. Because I'm telling you, there's so many times I was like, oh, they was being disrespectful. They was being shady. Yeah. And she's like, I don't think so. I do. And they was.
Yeah. So the small disrespect matters just as much. And if you accept the small disrespect, it will get worse.
It will.
They only need an inch to take a mile.
What I learned is that consistency matters more than potential. And the reason I'm going to say that is because I stopped making exceptions for people based on what they could be instead of who they repeatedly showed themselves to be. Whether that's intimate partners, friends, family members. When you show me who you really are, and that person keeps showing up, like, that's who they are.
Absolutely.
And that you're consistently being yourself. And I need to consistently take heed to that. That's just who you are.
If it's a duck, if it walk like a duck, if it quack like a duck, it's a motherfucking duck.
It's a duck.
So next, we're going into T's
The
favorite.
sip of wisdom. And this is my favorite segment because this is our chance to share something big or small that has shaped us throughout the week, the day, or just in life in general. So Stephanie, ma'am, what did you learn?
What I learned is standards and boundaries don't push the right people away. They expose the ones who are only around to take advantage of what you bring to the table.
And that is the truth. Clock that.
Clock.
And you know what? I'm going to stick on the line of the standards and boundaries as well. So I'm going to piggyback off that. What I learned is standards help you choose who enters your life, whereas boundaries help you decide what happens when those standards aren't met.
Absolutely.
Period.
Clock it.
Mm-hmm.
Clock it.
So now we're going to go into our final sip, and I'm going to let Stephanie take it away.
Unfortunately, this brings us to the end of today's sip. Thank you for joining Sip and Spill. Please comment, subscribe, and follow and share. I hope this conversation gave you something to reflect on. Keep sipping, keep spilling, and we'll see you next time right here on Sip and Spill with T and Steph. Peace out.
Peace.